So we are looking at some of these, disabilities, and a few more left to be enumerated. So it was a Shata Ardharam, Shatardharam. The So here we have seen the Viparyaya, that is the disabilities. Today we'll look at the siddhis. We are on page number 63. Yes, the third, one, two, three, fourth para. The siddhis, successes, are being enumerated. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm, Now, these are 8 in number, and they will be enumerated. Why should there be uh, weaknesses, misconceptions, and you can say frustrations also? Yes, this is part of the world.
Mhm.
This is part of what uh, the soul is uh, engaged in, ensnared in, and that's the reason why these need to be enumerated. A discerning soul, as the soul keeps on awakening, what happens? Certain things come in front of the soul, or the certain things present themselves. So, and the soul discerns, oh, this is be better than this very thing. Like in the Katopanishad, you said, Shreyas Preyas Manushameta Dev Samparityo Vivinakti. Both the good, Shreyas and prayers, the ultimate good, they both present themselves to us. Saying the wise person takes the ultimate good, and the other ones take something which is okay, temporary. Okay, so these, at every moment of our lives, what we have is a kind of a nature presents to you, to the soul, a few things. You see what is good, what is long term, what is short term, and then as you keep on selecting, you understand, yeah, this is good for me, and you proceed. So it's not that people left in a kind of a void. Nature is simply, trying to bind you down and make you into a slave. No, nature or God also wants to free you, and that's the work of nature. So, because in the Sankhyas and even the Vedanta, you'll say that what is Prakriti is saying, it is for the education of the soul, education, and finally to release the soul. Bhoga and Apavarga, to experience. The soul goes through experiences, and then finally Apavarga is released. It gets released.
What is that word, Maharaj?
Bhoga and Apavarga. Okay. Uh, Now, what we need to do is, but generally, what Swami Vivekananda talks about, but the soul is like actually a person who's reading a book. Pages after pages are turned, and we don't change. The book is changing. Nature keeps on changing, one after another keeps on changing. Problem is, we get so much, you can see, involved in that story. We get caught in that. So it is like I said, it is bhogan apavrita. So once you know, certain things present themselves to you for your education, but you not need to know their nature. Because nature also is very, deceptive in a way. It'll show you one thing, and it has a different, you can see, implication. We get caught up in that, mostly, because or we see one particular thing, it's such a wonderful thing. We see it in a kind of a shop window. Oh, yeah. But when you go inside and we see the price, oh, hey, it looks good, but it's pricey. Eh, oh, no, no, it's not meant. Anyway, it doesn't suit my personality. So nature is like that. So why do we need to go to that process? Once you understand it, yes, that is what it is. You become guarded. You get your proper education quickly. So here the siddhis, successes are enumerated because these are also part of this world, you can say, and these are part of the education. So first one is uha. It's a longish uha, shabda, and adhyayana. Adhyayana is to study. Uha, shabda is sound, words. Adhyayana is a study. Now first is there are three of the successes. Dukkha, Vighata consist of three. Suhrit, Prapti, and Dana are two of the remaining successes. So we'll take one by one. Uha. Uha is a knowledge about nature, etc., that rises without instructions to a seeker of truth as a result of tendencies acquired in past lives. Here we are. All through, spiritual literature, you find saints, the first caliber. Suddenly, it dawns. If when you hear about Ramana Maharishi or something like that, what happened? Suddenly he was lying down and he said, "Let's say, uh, how do I see myself as dead?" Let's suppose that. Then he's seen his own body there, maybe going through the process of death, and he's separate from that. And then suddenly, the knowledge dawned in him. There's another person whom we have heard that he was walking in the marketplace and then suddenly his guru was also moving around there. They were not known to each other. The guru sees such a aspirant and hey, he does. The aspirant looks at him, huh? And he was enlightened. One guru goes similarly to the marketplace and he's moving around in the smells and the sounds of the marketplace. Suddenly he sees one person, a fruit seller. He goes to him, "What are you doing here?" "Don't tell anybody anything. Keep quiet about it." He was an enlightened soul. So, in Vedanta, we are very careful what is your tradition. If your tradition is authentic or no. If your tradition is not authentic, we will not listen to you. This happened in the case of the Upanishad seers. A young boy goes to the forest. His job is to tend to the cows. He's kind of a cowboy, without a horse, of course. And he's saying the guru told him come back when they are 1,000 in number. And he is feeding them, watering them, this had, and then suddenly one bull in the center is saying, "Satyakama, we are 1,000. Let us go back." Saying, "I'll teach you about Brahman." Huh? What happened? Yeah, you sure? And then he's saying, "I'll teach you one part of Brahman." And then slowly, he a bird Madhu and the fire, and they teach him. Now, when he comes down to his guru's place, the guru recognizes him as a man of knowledge. "Who has taught you? Your face shines like an ore of Brahman." Saying, "Beings other than men, but I wish you could teach me because knowledge heard from the lips of the guru itself is authentic and leads to the highest good." And the guru teaches him that same knowledge which he had derived from other beings. So, uha is a kind of a spontaneous rise of knowledge. It's not sudden in the sense of a person is sitting down, suddenly gets enlightenment. No, he or she has worked. in previous lives.
Is that the intuition in you that all of a sudden opens up?
No, intuition is nothing, it's on a very low level. It's like, mm, most of the discoveries in science also, you can be called, first starts with rigorous, you can say, thinking about a particular problem over and over again. And then when they are not in that stage of rigor, something pops in and they connect the dots. There we are. So Swami Vivekananda gives the example of a kind of logic is like a kind of a circle, there you are. And something comes from outside the circle. But that intuition has to be then logically formulated, which it is, which is science. So we talk about all the great discoveries in science. Mm. They are not just a result of lab work, just constantly day in and day out, day in and day. They are doing that work at the same time thinking about it. It's abstract. So intuition will be like that. That something comes out from outside the circle of reason. It's not higher reason. It is from the level of intuition. Okay. But you have to prepare your mind for that, to understand that impulse, that intuition. Otherwise, you might mistake it for something else. There you are. You've lost. So this person, there's a rise of knowledge without even a guru. Person sees the sun and suddenly all the trees, all the stars, and there are n number of instances when a person just looks at a particular beautiful scenery and goes at it. Sri Ramakrishna, when he's seen a flock of white cranes flying against the, the dark clouds, he goes into a kind of ecstasy. Swami Vivekananda, he sees a huge honeycomb and he's just reflecting on all these years these bees have been working on this and thinking deeply on this. And what happens is, there he gets into a kind of a samadhi, power samadhi. So, who taught him? Taught him. He used to practice meditation, but then. So, uha is a knowledge about nature that rises without instructions. How do you know? Yes, I know. And that's a test of knowledge. I know. If somebody says, maybe you're mistaken. I know. And if I'm mistaken, if the doubt creeps in, then I do not know. My knowledge is second hand. Second hand knowledge is always open to kind of a doubt. Yeah, maybe I don't know. But when I know, it's the rise of knowledge. So we have these old workings. The mind has worked. We have seen, sometimes children, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years old, suddenly they take up a musical instrument and oh,
Yeah.
who has taught them? Their parents have never played the piano, but these children or the tabla, something like that. So we have many instances that person has been working through lifetimes probably, and there's rise of knowledge. So that's uha. Shabda, the second type. This is one type of success. The second type of success is shabda, means the understanding of a subject that comes without study from merely hearing of it. There you are. And this is what you would like. You just, the guru is teaching you, or the teacher is teaching you something, and the spontaneous, you can say, pratyaksha, or you can say, apprehension of what the truth is. It's crystal clear. Suppose a teacher is teaching me about space, and then suddenly I see that space. I can understand. Not in the textbook sense, but it's very easy. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that he was asked, no, you get such beautiful illustrations. Where do you get it? Say, mother is like that, she pushes at knowledge, Mother Kali. It's like those grain merchants, in India, there are customers buying grain, and there's a heap of grain, and then you take grain from that heap and keep on dispersing, selling it up. And there's a guy behind, he'll push that grain from behind, little more. So you think mother's like that, she pushes that heap of knowledge. And I see those things before I talk. So Sri Ramakrishna used to see those you can say, the illustrations vividly and then talk about it. So here we have, you hear about a particular thing and you know it. That is you can say, tremendous. It also means that there is a kind of a intelligence called medha. It's a very purified intelligence. There's a medha devi, in the Vedas we have the sukta called Medha Sukta. Medha Devi Jushamana. So if the goddess Medha is very pleased, she is identified with Saraswati. She will give you that knowledge, Medha. Sri Ramakrishna says that there is a Medha Nadi, nerve of Medha, that if you practice austerities, that nerve is opened up. And through that, one can understand things very easily without the tedious processes of going through them over and over and over again. No, you don't need. Just spontaneously. There you.
So that is this one.
Shabd. Shabd. That is Shabd. So, Adhyayana means knowledge that arises from the study of scriptures. That is the third section. Yes. Now, in the old days, when a child used to go to the house of the teacher, the Gurukula, and the Guru and his wife became, for all practical purposes, the child's foster mother and father. There. So there he lived with them. First, the Guru should teach them simply how to pronounce the Vedic, you can say, language and the Vedas. Yes, maybe 8 years, maybe 9 years, maybe 10, 12 years. You keep on. Why? Why is all this? First is, this knowledge is a divine knowledge. It needs to be protected. How do you protect it? By memorizing it and then transmitting it to the next generation. This knowledge has to be saved. Now he's told, see, this is the wisdom of God. Okay, it's from the mind of the Creator. You don't have to do anything. Just now mug it up. Just simply study. Don't ask any questions. Study, and when that study has been perfect, then the Guru should teach the hidden meaning of this. Many people have translated the Vedic suktas. They have learned Sanskrit and its syntax and grammar and all these things. They have not known the mystical side of the meaning. So they translate it as, oh, this is the hymn to Agni, fire. This is the hymn to Indra, king of the gods. You have this. And it's a very simple translation, very nice, very good poetry, and there's so much devotion to these gods and goddesses and this and that. But we say, oh, it's nothing. We look at it as there's a mysticism associated with that language. With because if it is the mind of God, it's not going to just be one level. You can say knowledge. It will have to have multiple levels. And always, scriptures are always like that. No scripture can be studied or just its words. Oh, this is the meaning of this word. No, is the mystical element to these things. So, adhyayana is this. Then the guru teaches the pupil the mystical meaning of these suttas, these words, what it actually means. So that's why the Upanishads, one of the meaning of the Upanishads is rahasya, the secret knowledge. It should not be given to everybody. Don't. But Swami Vivekananda says, you see, these Upanishads speak about the real nature of the person. Give it. Teach everybody. Teach Vedanta to everyone, to the high and the low. Why? Somewhere down the line, they pick it up and utilize it. So what if you're taught something which is related to you, why should that thing be kept secret from you? How simple as that. So in the old days, what used to happen is they used to test the competency of the pupil and whether he's serious or not, or whether he'll utilize it for money or no. It's a sacred knowledge. You cannot do anything about it. You've got to get yourself enlightened and help others to also towards enlightenment. So they had this rahasya, the secret knowledge. That is, you learn it from the guru, the inner meaning of those words. So this is adhyayana. And once you go through that process, it's a lengthy process, as all studies. So, but then you keep on going through this process slowly, and you catch the inner meanings. It's like, no, Einstein once, I think he had already come to Princeton, and so he had to, set these test papers. So 1 year he gave a few questions. He gave one question, and students had to write a dissertation on this. The next year he gave the same question. So some of the students say, Professor, this is a question that you gave last year. I mean, what they need to do is just check the previous year's the answers of some of the students, and you got it. So he thought about it. Yeah, the question is the same. Oh, it doesn't matter. You can write it. Why? Because the answers have changed. So there you are. So certain things you're going through the study, the long course of studies, and slowly, the questions may be different, but the answer is one only. But yeah, in this case, you get down to the answer. So this is a kind of an intellectual rigor. You put your mind down to it and you start studying. So this, and you become successful. And what's the use of this? Oh, knowledge. Success in knowledge is actually the real, and that's the reason why they say he's not talking about having $1 billion, nothing like that. So whether you suppose you have $1 million, you're a very successful person. Not according to the Upanishads, not according to the commentator. No, no, no. Success in knowledge is true success, and that's the reason why Nachiketa also is saying, "Give me the knowledge of death and what happens after death. I am not interested in all your horses and chariots and gold and kingdoms and long life. No, no. These are not counted as successes. But for many people, they are successful. You have something like this, or you are a successful person. And a person of knowledge, hey, what? Like an ass. carrying that knowledge around. Saying no, in the realm of religion and spirituality, this is what actually counts as success. A person may be the richest person in the world, but if he has no spiritual knowledge, he or she, all that money will be, like Sri Ramakrishna says, like a kite. He picked up a fish flying, trying to escape with that, and then all the crows keep cawing behind it and trying to pull. So he was harassed by that, the number of crows. Finally, he lets that fish go, throws it down, and all the crows dive towards it. If you have wealth, all these things, you'll have all these crows. You'll have relatives and friends coming from everywhere. Do you know? Hey, we were friends in school. Your friends in college. Remember this, that we played together. Oh yeah. And then after your money is over, all your friends and relatives also, tata, bye bye. So, but when you have knowledge, people will come to you for solving their problems. They see that this person has solved his or her problem. How do you know? This is intuitive. This person, what does that person have? This particular knowledge, or then they will approach you for that knowledge. And as you share that knowledge, your knowledge grows. That's the best way. So even Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda says the gift of knowledge is the highest gift. The gift of food, the gift of life also is lower. So the gift of knowledge, and then knowledge should be free, should be given. So this is that long years of studies and so that. Now the next tree is called Dukkha Vighata. Now the knowledge that comes to the forbearing person who endures the sorrows rising from heat, cold, etc., by becoming indifferent to three kinds of pain. What happens is when we become embodied, we have three forces working against us. Three count. One is we can say Adhyatma, Adidaiva, Adibhauta. Adibhauta, this is the physical things, physical, mental, And that's the reason why after every mantra, we have Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. These are the three tapas, three afflictions that every embodied being is subject to. Everyone. Now what is the Adhyatma? We are sitting all right here. Suddenly I get a kind of a pain. Hey, what's happened? I'm talking about highest knowledge, but here you're getting a call the doctor. What are you looking at me? These are physical pains. Now we are sitting here quietly, nicely, and suddenly a storm rises and disrupts the whole thing. Adibhavadika. Or I'm walking down a snake bites me or a dog barks at me. And hey, things which are not in your grasp at all, or not in your control. And then Adidaiva, the gods also, that's the higher nature, might send you a kind of a earthquake or a kind of a, like you have something like in the Midwest, the huge blizzards and the polar vortex bringing that cold. What did these people do to deserve this? Nothing. It's just that it's happened. It's a tap. When you are embodied, you always have these three negative forces working. But if you persist, so what if it is cold? So what if there's a kind of a polar wind? So what if the dog is barking? So what if I what? I will keep to my routine. And that's what the gurus teach. In our tradition, at least, don't miss a single day of devotions. Make it into kind of a habit, and that becomes part of your character. You do it in sorrow, in pain, in loss, and gain. You go and sit down and meditate or pray or do study. That's the way to persistence. If I get a little, I've got a headache today, I won't go and practice meditation. Oh, yes. You are not going to practice meditation for a long time. We know it. Sri Ramakrishna also talks about grit. You need to have grit. And he gives the example of, you know, people in India, especially farmers, when they go to buy bullocks, what they do is they put their hand on the tail. And if the bullock is, is frisky, he'll jump about, they'll buy that. And there are some bullocks, you put a hand on the tail and that bullock sits down. This bullock is not going to be any use to me, because if I'm plowing, in India we have this plow, and pulled by two bullocks. In Europe they used to have uh, you can say horses. No horses, even they used to put the wife had to pull. You don't know. Wife or the daughter had to pull. Oh yes, it wasn't too long ago. I had to pull. And this guy, yeah, life was hard during those days, and it's not that people talk about the male dominant society. It's not that they worked as a team. That's the and that's what kept the civilization and culture alive. It's not that the males were constantly at the throat of females and females were constantly at the throat of males. You can't have a society like that. So that's why in India we had this, and so you sit down, because if it's raining, that bullock also will sit down. I was hungry. No, no, no. You got to have grit. So, any of these three tapas, that is the Adidaiva, Adibhauta, Adhyatma, will simply, frighten a weak person, dissuade a weak person. That person who has got grit, I'm going to see this through. That person will get success in that particular thing. So these are three levels of successes. Physically, that person can succeed. Mentally, and even you can say morally, the higher it's the values and this and that. So in anything actually, the person who has grit, who's dogged, I am not going to leave this kind of death-like grip on that thing. That person is going to be successful in it. So Sri Ramakrishna also gives the example of, you can say hereditary farmer. If there's a drought for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, he's not going to give up farming. My 50 generations have been farmers, and I'm not going to give up because a couple of years of drought. He will stick to farming. But a newcomer will say, "Oh, there's a drought here. There's a pest now. Forget it. I'll go for some newer avenues." That's not going to work. So it's khandani chasa. You keep on working, even with all the obstacles. And one day finally the soul is much more stronger than whatever obstacle nature can bring. Whatever the soul. And Swami Vivekananda is saying, when the lion is wounded, it roars the loudest. Okay. When the snake is, you can say, hurt, the cobra, it unfurls its hood, the biggest. So when the soul is kind of injured, when soul finds obstacles coming in the way, it keeps on manifesting its powers. This is one of the reasons why uh, spiritual people, they come across one problem after another. Yeah, hey, what's that? Nature saying, yeah, you can do it, you can do it, manifest, okay, you can jump, jump, jump. Hi. And if you want to, let's have a piece of chocolate. Nature will say, here you are, take it. And there you go for the chocolate, and there, nature knows there's nothing in this guy. There's just those people who, and it's found that people you can differentiate between long-term benefits and short-term benefits. Those people who have ideas of long-term benefits will succeed. I don't want a chocolate now. No, no. They'll hold themselves back. And holding themselves back is actually what is the essence of success. I don't want any short-term titillation of the senses. Or nobody's looking at, I can't take it. No, 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 no. I hold myself, rein in myself, because I want long-term benefits. So nature separates the wheat from the chaff. Oh, this guy. And even the Bhagavad Gita says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhi. Out of 1,000 and thousands of people who are struggling for success, yatati siddhi, a few come to me. Very few. So why is there any kind of partiality? No, there's no partiality. Everything is impartial. It's just Manushyanam amongst thousands of people. A few hundreds will search for this kind of truth. And amongst those who search for this truth, we are diligent in that, a few attain me. That's very important. It's just that diligence, that grit. Because that soul has to get ready for immortality. I don't know if you've heard. You all must have heard. There's an old song in English. Long time back I had heard it, and I cried, my love, don't murder me. I'm not prepared for eternity. You never?
No, never heard that.
I cried, my love, don't murder me. I'm not prepared for eternity. I don't know where exactly. You can search the web for that. So that person was not ready for eternity. And nature wants to see whether you are prepared for eternity. Yes, you cannot take a bundle of your stupid, you can say, habits and some peculiarities and say, I'm ready for eternity. Oh, people want to go to heaven like that. Oh God, it's going to be another.
Isn't it, Swamiji, when people are working hard for eternity, for example, those habits drop?
Yes, those habits drop. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The soul finds itself, it's pristine nature. Oh, this is what I am. It gets a glimpse of immortality, it gets a glimpse of heaven, even before it can reach heaven. That's what the lives of the mystics were. So it knows, yeah, this is my strength, this is my immortality. Now I know. Now I'm prepared. But how will it be prepared if it is, you know, enmeshed in all these small things which are pulling it down? So here we have this. This is the kind of a success, and a person who knows all about oneself. Very few people are there. Say, I know everything. nephew. That is the greatest strength.
Greatest one.
Strength. I know all about myself. You say, yes, I am a child of God. Okay. Oh, I am the part of the divine plan. Or I am a part of divinity. Or I am the Atman. Anything. You must know your own strength. You must know your own powers. You must know that the soul is much, much more stronger and greater than nature that can bring all the various things in front of us. So we have this dukkha vighata, like you said, now it's 3 types, and that the success called suhrit prapti. Now, friend, acquiring a friend, that is successful. Yes, a real friend is a one. It's like this, na? You tell a friend, hey, you know what happened? Tell a friend something. Hey, and that guy will tell you what happened to him or her some 20 years back, or maybe is very dismissive about it. That's not a friend. You run away from such friends. If you are happy, your friend becomes happy. If you are sad, your friend becomes sad. And he is not going to give you any palliative, you can say, advice. No? Hey, it happens to everybody. No. If you are crying, a friend will cry with you. If you're laughing, a friend will laugh with you. If you're enjoying, a friend will enjoy with you. Without any kind of judgmental posters there. Without any kind of advice. So a friend in need is a friend indeed, as they say. No? Oh, some of these proverbs are really, really, they have been honed for centuries and centuries and centuries. People have just seen this is what it is. The friend is good, friend in need is a friend indeed. There you are. And humans always have sought friends and friendship. That's it. And one of the spiritual, you can say, powers is the divine is looked upon as a friend. Like Sri Krishna and Arjuna, they were friends, Sakha Bhava. So friendship is valued in all cultures. And this is one of the biggest acquisition. If you have a friend, you are safe. Anything that happens to you, you will have someone who understands you and you can share things with. So this is the Surit Prapti is a knowledge of that comes from a friend. And what happens is somewhere deep down, you are, you're tuned to each other and you understand each other. It's always found that even if the friend is far away, somehow that friend will intuit there's something wrong. Call, hey, what's up? What's happening? Oh, really nothing. No. Then you keep on telling. And then, hey, how did you know? I was just passing down the lane and suddenly I felt that I need to call you and talk to you. Just check up everything is okay there. They're connected. That is a very safe ground and is considered very big success. Then the success called dana is a knowledge that accrues from gifting to the teacher some object that is dear to him. These are the 8. Yes. In the old days, it is called Guru Dakshina. It is not that the first was knowledge is free. You cannot trade in knowledge. I'll pay. This is my tuition fees, and then you teach me. No way. And the guru had to accept every student, whether rich or poor, because in the old days they were the children of even kings, and they were the children of even the poor. In what happened in India, it was like this, most of the teachers were of the Brahmin class, generally, and the society gave them tremendous prestige, tremendous. These are the living gods, and their life and the character was actually like that. They were gods. People criticize, oh, they are the caste system, and this. They don't really know what's behind the caste system. They were living gods, and their job, their mission was first to protect the treasury of knowledge, which is the Vedas. That was stamped into their very, you can say, fiber at a very early age. And secondly, to raise the level of society, their culture, and slowly, slowly teach the people. They were poor. Society gave them the prestige of being like gods, but they kept them poor. You cannot have any property. You cannot have a kitchen to cook. You're feeling hungry? You go out and beg. Oh yes, that's a bhiksha. That's the Brahmins was that. They had to go and beg. So you don't have property. You don't have any kind of income to sustain you. What do? They were satisfied with knowledge and austerity. They practiced, spiritual disciplines. Since when you are invested with a kind of a sacred thread, it's kind of a ritual. From that time on, that person has to start his life of austerities, tapasya. Studies, meditation, studies, meditation. And if you're feeling hungry, go out. And if a guy comes out 4 or 5 times a day for begging, once a day. And if you visit 3 houses, if you do not get anything, you can visit 2 more. And if you don't get there also, you can visit 2 more. And if you don't get in 7 houses, you are supposed to stay hungry that day. No. Oh, I know about anything.
I have a question. Wasn't this practice for monks more than Brahmins? That's what my understanding.
Yes, it was actually only these people who could become monks.
Yeah. So
it was only these people with this kind of tradition, they used to become
and
monks.
they themselves has raised their standard to the level where money was not important for them. Studies and teaching only was important.
So these are the people who, obviously, what else do you have? I don't have anything. Society has stripped everything away from me. And so I can live like this. I can live like this.
But what about their families? Didn't they have families?
Oh yes. Oh
so
yes.
How did they support the family?
This is to dana. That's what I was calling it. The students used to bring some gifts, and also on completion of their studies or whatever, somebody bought something, maybe a cow, and give it to them. So you had a little milk. That also was, of course, sort of frowned upon. Huh? You're having a cow also. But later on, it was permitted thing. And so things that were, there is some object that is dear to the Guru. Gifting, it is called the dana. That is. So the children of these kings and princes and all, they could give something more. But never had the teacher to say, hey, I want a Mercedes. You get me one. Okay. So it's not like that. Somehow we had this idea that you state what you want. No, you cannot state what you want. You state nothing. It is the the generosity and the capacity of the student. If a student does not have anything, maybe you'll get a small mango, or maybe you'll get a small fruit and give it to the teacher. And the teacher cannot say, "Hey, what is this? Hey, what?"
Here, why don't you give example of Krishna, what he gets to his guru?
Oh,
Sandipani.
yeah. Yeah, what exactly? I don't remember.
Okay, all done. When Krishna,
Yeah, it's been a long.
Krishna was
He
like
gave a
went to
small thing.
Gurukul
Mm.
and he studied. His studies got over. Then he wants to give Guru Dakshina to his guru.
Mm.
And Guru Sandipani, as he said, he didn't ask for anything.
Mm.
He didn't ask for. Why you are
Yeah.
doing that?
Yeah, please keep on. You do keep on telling.
So Guru doesn't want anything. So that time he keeps quiet. But all those years when Krishna was staying there, he knew that his son was kidnapped. Guru's son was kidnapped by asuras or rakshasas or whoever. So he says, then Guru Patni asked him that can you bring my son back?
Yeah.
Then Krishna goes and fights with those Rakshasas and gets his son back. And his mental whole thing, he was changed. He was Brahmin's son, but those Rakshasas had turned him around and his mental capacity was changed. But he brings him back to Guru and gives him that. So that those kind of Guru Dakshinas, whoever has whatever capacity, they gave accordingly. If king's son was studying there, king will give to run that Gurukul whatever that was required, like billions he would give them.
Billions. Don't billions.
Because those days, whatever they needed for Gurukul.
Later on, some of these Gurukulas they became great forest universities.
Yeah.
And when you have a lot of students coming to these universities, like these schools, the kings also they want to exert their, you can say, control over these things. But generally, this wasn't billions and all. So this was sacred knowledge which was transmitted down from one generation to another, and that was what. So these people had to, at the end of their studies, they had to give the guru a gift. So it's like that. Even Ekalavya, he started practicing archery, and he became even better than Arjuna. And now Dronacharya, the teacher, and Dronacharya wasn't present. He just made you can say, a statue of Dronacharya, and used to salute that and practice archery. And then he became better than Arjuna. And then Dronacharya was, what is this? So then, when the time came for Guru Dakshina, so what do you want? I want your thumb. So that's what. So there. So those kind of gurus, and those kind of.
No, but
So-
I was taught that his father saw everywhere money and he didn't want him to use his knowledge for money or kingdom.
Well,
No, that was
it's just a kind of plain human jealousy.
Yes.
Yeah, gurus also had favorite disciples. Hey, that's it. But anyway, so this was a gift. Even in our tradition here, when during initiation, most of you know that what do you give to your guru? Maybe some fruits. Traditionally, that has been you can say dana. And money, of course, just nominal amount. So that was the Guru Dakshina. So this has these eightfold successes have been enumerated like this. Okay. So
What page are we on?
64.
64. Yeah.
I'm trying
What
to
is
follow, but I
Viparaya?
No,
know
it's
the
a-
line.
Viparaya. What's Viparaya?
wrong cognitions, disabilities translated here. In this way, the second para, please.
Second paragraph.
In this way have been explained 50 different notions classed under Viparyaya, Shakti, Tushti and Siddhi. There you are. Okay. We had seen the disabilities, we had seen you can say all these 80, the weaknesses, Ashakti, and we had seen the Tushti, the satisfactions. Sometimes the satisfaction are false satisfaction. But even then, you tend to stay away from those things. Everybody is going to get liberated at the end of the kalpa. So why bother? So they'll say, no, you might not get the liberation at the end of the kalpa. You might have to come back. If your burden of karma is still there. Oh, not one kalpa, not one cycle, maybe the second cycle or the third or the fourth, fifth. One day I'm going to get free, isn't it? Yeah. Why bother? Why should I sit down and practice meditation? But this is a negative way of being satisfied. Then you be like a football, or been thrown about here and there and kicked about it. If you're happy with that, it's good. If you're not, then you come out of that game. And Siddhi, these are the successes. These are the 50 types of, you can say, notions that bind the soul. Now we have these. Now again here, we have more things to be enumerated. I think we can stop here for today. If you have any questions, the rest is very easy. We'll have another class.
Not Wednesday, right, Swami? Because Wednesday you're going to be in Santa Barbara.
Yes,
Oh.
not Wednesday. I'm going to be in Santa Barbara. Yeah, I'm going to be.
So next Friday.
For the puja.
Yes, for the Brahmananda Puja.
Are you going?
No, we'll see. What kind
Sunday
of
I've got this.
Yeah,
I'm
Sunday.
speaking on the matrix of life. Yeah. I don't know where to start and where to stop. It's going to be interesting.
How to speak with people you speak to. Somehow we're told quite often it might take another 1,000,000 years to do this. And I kind of scratch my head and say, well, what's the point? And yet my belief is it can be done.
Oh yes. If it takes 1,000,000 years, what is it? It's a calculation. Okay, from here, how do you calculate it? You calculate distance with time. Okay, you start from here, and time and space are one dimension. So 1,000,000 years, you're extending it through space.
I
And giving
assume
it.
that I've already gone 750,000 years.
Okay.
I've only got
Yeah. Then what do? You can compress time. How do you compress time? Concentration. And then distance also is reduced. That's what it is. This has been the secret of all successful endeavors. What takes a person 10 years, a normal, you can say, person working towards something takes 10 years. But there comes somebody with energy. As Patanjali also says that Tivra samveganam asana. Tivra, that is intensity is required. And for that intense person, that thing is very speedily acquired. So when you put your mind and heart and soul into that 10 years becomes 1 year. There you are. So, and always we must remember that we have the Lord with us on our sides. So you are not alone. The moment you struggle for higher values, higher life, you are always there with God. God is with you, or all the, you can see the positive forces. People have prayed, people have wept for God, people have sacrificed, people have worshipped. Those vibrations are there in this universe. They all come, club together and come and push you. They all help you. And suppose you want to do something bad, there are bad vibrations also. Very quickly they will come in. So what happened? I just went to the pub for a beer. Saying, yeah. Then what happened? Then one thing led to another. Yeah. You opened yourself up to all the negative forces. So, in every success, also, Swami Vivekananda speaks about this. This universe is filled with good and bad vibrations. If you take up something, and if it is a good intention, if your heart is pure, you want to do something, all the good forces, like angels, they come to help you, guard you, and light the way. Oh, yes, it always is there. You will never be alone. There's a story, I think, the Christian mysticism. There's a saint who's, as you know, all saints, they suffer also. And so when times are pleasant, he sees always beside his footsteps on the sand, there's always another footstep. But in times of crisis and struggles, that footsteps disappear. So he's saying, friend, you're a nice friend. Whenever I'm in trouble, you disappear. Saying, no, my child. Saying, those are my footprints. When in times of trouble, I lift you up and carry you. And in happier times, I'll let you go. So this is what happens. So you are with God. Know that you have these forces there with you. And that is what you will say, when I'm struggling for anything higher, noble, never should you feel that I'm alone struggling against the whole universe. No. The universe comes and helps you. I think you should read that book, The Alchemist. Yeah.
Paulo Coelho? Is
Ah,
that Paulo
yeah,
Coelho?
yeah. I think the whole of nature comes in to help you, to rather conspires to help you. In various ways, it helps you reach your goal. Wonderful. In fact, when I read it, it was recommended to me, and I said, "Wow, this guy is got that, we can say, basic understanding of what nature is."
Yeah, story, just what you narrated earlier, the Satyam, because he was ready, so he started getting lessons from bird flying and cows.
Cows
Same thing.
Oh yes. That's what Satyabrahma. He opened himself to nature, made his heart pure, and there's nothing. Guru, oh yeah, Guru Vakya. What the Guru has spoken is sacrosanct. It is set. It should be set in stone in your heart. The Guru has said, do this. Swami Vivekananda, before initiating his disciples, if I tell you to jump in the river Ganga, catch hold of a crocodile and bring it, will you do it? If I sell you as a coolie to some tea estate, if I tell you to go and wrestle with the tiger, will you do it? If you can do it, you be ready for initiation. If you cannot, out you go. So all the three of them quietly. Okay. So it's not an blind obedience. I have seen examples of disciples whom their guru told, you go and do this. And they did it their whole life. At the end of 30 or 40 or 50 years, they have been blessed. So it is not hijacking your own intelligence. This is something in spiritual life. The guru tells you certain things. You keep on doing it.
Does this apply to Upagurus as well?
No.
What's your Upaguru?
Many other gurus, but you
No.
only.
Yeah.
Karate Kid also is like that he goes to Guru for learning karate, and Guru says, go and paint all that whole house. Then he said, okay, I have painted. So then he comes back, he said, okay, now wax all those cars. He said, I come here to, but I think that's the Shraddha in Guru, believing, and then of what the Guru was doing, teaching him hand movements. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, in especially in classical music, when the child goes to the guru, guru is not going to get his tabla or his sitar. Here, come sit, I will teach you. Ah, you serve the guru. You first serve the guru, and then when the guru is happy, at the end of 5-6 years of serving that guru, marketing, cleaning, washing, this, that, and all these things. And come, sit here. This is what you do. And the child immediately grasps because somewhere serving him has tuned him to the guru. And it's the Bhagavad Gita, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena. You go according to the rules, vidhi. Pranipatena, by prostration. Pariprashnena, and you need to serve. Sevaya. So in India, it's not like, can you teach me this? I'll teach you. After 10 years. 10 years. Should I come after 10 years? No. You come now and do this and do this. Mow my lawn. I'm come here to study the tabla, not to mow your lawn. Then the Guru says, okay, get going.
What if an 80-year-old guy comes and say, wait, 10 years?
Madhavananda Maharaj said he went to the airport and then they inquired and found out he was a monk. And so the lady said, that can you teach me instant realization?
Ha! Instant realization. Yeah, like instant coffee. Oh, so anyway. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram